with Julia and Philip Siracusa, sponsored by Carnation, airing live on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM in New Orleans. This show's entrance has been edited, produced, and directed by Gwen Clapper from Perfect Trust Productions, LLC. You can find us at perfecttrustproductions.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday night segment of Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We're broadcasting live from the International Public Radio and the United Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM from New Orleans. This evening's show is fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. We love them. You'll have to do a few things in order to participate. Go over to our YouTube channel, UFO Paranormal Radio, or International Public Radio. You can also go into all of the Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Twitch, SoundCloud, Podbeam, and also go over to our group, Horsefly Chronicles Radio, and get in if you haven't. And if you have any questions for our guest, please ask. So tonight, guys, we have an amazing guest sitting right there. Please welcome Todd Wilcox to the show. Todd has had a lifelong fascination with alternative healing, consciousness expansion, and human potential. His first book, Slipstream Shaman, using quantum healing for individuals, communities, the planet, and beyond, was recently published, and the next two books in the series will be out soon. Todd loves talking about the paranormal and hosts a radio show called My Side of the Universe. Find everything out about Todd on his website, slipstreamshaman.com. So please welcome Todd to the show.
Welcome.
Yay.
Thanks, guys. I love being here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on. So, Todd, take us to the beginning of your story. How did you become interested in the paranormal, and did you have any experiences as a child, maybe that pulled you into the paranormal?
Sure. So, yeah, I've always been fascinated. I can remember, some of my earliest memories being fascinated by monsters, science fiction monsters, space monsters. If there was a show on TV that had a spaceship in it, I was watching it. If there was a ghost, I was watching it and getting terrified. Ghost stories always scared me bad. And I don't know why I continued in the paranormal as bad as they scared me as a kid, but I just kept going back for more. And it started as early as I can remember, wanting to be around monsters, ghosts, aliens. And just watching some of the movies I watched, like Forbidden Planet. How do you use your mind to do different things? And I guess that's where it all started. I was probably 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range, and it all started to coalesce.
Wow.
It's funny how you were afraid. I was afraid too. Do you remember Chiller with the hand back in the 70s? It would come and pull out the letters. That used to creep me out as a child.
Really? I don't remember.
Well, yeah, it was back in the 70s.
young.
Chiller. And
I remember
they would
that.
pull the letters out, and I'd be scared watching it.
All
But I
right.
was intrigued at the same time, getting goosebumps.
Oh, yeah. And then what was that? Night Gallery. And every time there was a ghost on that, the curtains would billow into the room. And so, of course, every time the curtains billowed from the breeze, I think the ghost is coming in my room. So yeah, all those things, they got me good for sure. But
What's interesting? They got me too. And what's interesting is now, as a paranormal investigator, and living in a haunted house, I kind of believe that watching stuff like that at a young age, believe it or not, is sometimes a trigger object, where the other side knows, they know you're afraid. They know, like an animal knows your instincts if you're afraid and if you have fear of it.
That's true.
The other side knows as well. So yeah, so take us a little bit further now into your life.
Okay. Yeah.
What happened next?
Sure. As far as this book, it happened. This whole process probably started 15 years ago. I was on a paranormal team, and we did somewhere over 300 investigations. We were very active, and you know how it is when you're in a paranormal group, you meet other paranormal groups and you get to know the people in the industry. And one day I get a call from a lady. She said they're putting together a group that's going to go out and help the worst cases, the people that just can't be helped by anybody else, the hauntings that are too bad for the other groups to help. And I said, yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to do it, but I don't know how we're going to help. And she said, well, we're going to have to figure that out. We'll find some people to help us learn. And one of the people that we brought in was a shaman, and she was teaching us how to use our energy, find our energy, use our energy. And one of my frustrations was she wanted all of our energy to look and behave like hers. So we're working, we're bringing our hands together, feeling our energy. And she's saying that it's going to feel warm. Mine was cold. She's saying it's going to be, I can't remember what color she said, but mine was blue. It's about the color of the shirt I'm wearing. And so, everything she was saying was not working for me, and it was getting really frustrating. And so I kind of disengaged from that training, but I remembered the process and what to do. When I got home, I started practicing it on my own, finding my energy, bringing that. Mine ended up being like a ball. At that time, it was blue, like my shirt, and shaped like a ball. Now it's more of a, if you can picture shining a very bright light through a big diamond, that's what it looks like now. It's like a sparkler almost. It's changed over the years. And as I was practicing that, I would bring my energy together, cover my body in it for protection when I'd go to different places, to help me try to meditate. And most of the time, what meditation was for me was sitting in a chair, breathing deep a few times, trying to clear my mind, and then falling asleep. And I never really got to the meditation part. But what I found was using my energy, I could start to meditate. And as I started practicing more and more, one day, what I call the quantum room appeared for me. And it's just for me, it's just a misty room. Just picture being in a cloud, in a gray cloud. And that's kind of what it looks like. I'm just surrounded by undulating mist. And that's where I do most of my work. I found that I could really meditate there. I could really focus. That was where my guides started coming to me. That was where I developed a warrior group to help people. And it was also where I developed a love group to help them after the warrior group got done. So all of this started, it's been self-taught. I think the universe is giving me information, whatever you want to call it, higher power, universe. I tend to call it the universe is giving me this information and these opportunities to figure out how my energy works, how to interact with other people's energy, and how to help people. And while I was doing this, I found that quantum room, and I kept meditating about my purpose. And I was searching for my purpose for years. And I thought once I knew what my purpose was, everything was going to be great. The clouds would open up, the angels would start singing, the sun shining on me. I'd get promotions and have a great life. And that really wasn't the case. When I found out my purpose, it was something very simple. It was just 2 words: to help. And so then I started focusing on how am I going to help? What am I going to do to help people? And that's how this whole process came about, was looking for ways to help people.
I like that. So let me ask you, how is your energy when you're in a crowded place with a lot of people?
Yeah. So many times, and I guess it depends on who I'm with. Sometimes I have high energy where I'm kind of the voice you hear, the laughter kind of surrounds me. I'm being a smart aleck. Other times I'm a bit introverted, and I when you asked me that, I didn't think about it, because I typically don't access that energy when I'm in big groups. And so that's something I need to experiment with. And you kind of hit me right in the forehead with a mallet on that one. It's something that I've missed out on. I need to practice this energy in big groups and see what happens. So thank you. That was a very intuitive question.
Yeah, there's people out there, and myself actually. If I'm in a big crowd,
Yeah, me too.
I absorb the energy.
And the way that I guess every crowd is different, so your
Well,
energy is
every crowd
always
is
going to be.
different, but it's a good experience, and it restores my own energy
Yeah.
in a positive way. Which leads me to a question. When you meditate or when you're sleeping, do you ever feel your soul or spirit leaving your body?
Yes. So when I'm meditating, when I'm in my quantum room, I'm truly in a different plane of existence. I don't see myself like step out of my body and walk somewhere, but I'm in a completely different place. That quantum room, the it's a place to interact with energy and spirit, and time is different there. So I know I'm out of my body because my body will be time for my body will be like say 5 minutes. What it feels like the time goes by when I'm meditating in the quantum room might feel like an hour, or it can be backwards. It might feel like I've only been there for 5 minutes, but where my body is, actually an hour took place. So I know I'm leaving my body when I'm doing this, and I'm interacting with things in a different way. But I don't. It's not like a ghost, and I don't fly out of the house or anything like that. I'm just in a different place without my body.
Without your body, that's true because when I dream a lot, there's different people in my dream that don't exist in the physical realm, but they're in my dreams.
Yeah.
And I believe like you leave your body. Some people remember their dreams, some people don't. I'm not saying every single dream because some dreams are based on the day before or what's coming up in your life, what's on your mind. But there's dreams where, whether there's soul groups and things to that nature, I feel like the soul is
Yeah.
getting out there. Like he said earlier in the show, the soul, the spirit energy
Yeah.
of the universe, right?
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
picking up.
And I think
Fascinating.
when I'm doing that, when I'm really when I'm just dreaming, I typically will remember the dreams. But when I'm in that quantum state, like when I'm meditating, or if I get to a deep dream where I'm in that same state, I don't remember the dream. I have very, very, very limited time to write down what takes place in that quantum room, or I forget the whole thing. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I had just done a session for somebody not 20 minutes before, and without looking at my notes, I couldn't remember what had taken place. And so I think I have two different types of dreams. And again, your questions are bringing out some thoughts for me. The ones that I remember, I think, are my normal basic dreams. Then the ones that I cannot access and don't know what I dreamed about, I think I'm going into that quantum state and maybe doing some work there. Our brains
So
don't seem to hold that memory well because it's a completely different place of existence, different plane.
I agree 1000%. Do you think it's possible that we exist in two places at the same time simultaneously?
I do, and I think that outside our physical bodies, time has a completely different flow and meaning, and takes place so much differently that it's hard to even describe. But yeah, I think that's more what reincarnation is, not necessarily work through this life, die, go to the next life, die, go to the next life, die. I kind of think they're all happening at once. And all many of the, or maybe not all of them, but a lot of the lives that we're going to live are happening at the same time, with our higher self living in different places and learning different things. So I do think that's going on, and we're in two places, or three, or 10, or 20 at the same time.
All right, I need to harp on that for a second because I've heard this before and it blows my mind. So, past, present, and future is running at the same time?
And truly interconnected and twisted around, and it's in the book I talk about retrocausality. You can do things now that change the way things were perceived, which changes the energy in the past to have a different result now from it. And one of those things is there's a process that'll be in my second book called Trauma Relief. And you basically travel back in time to a place that you had the trauma, change your perception of what took place, let that heal, and you can feel it healing all the way up your timeline. So you can actually travel in time that way.
Wow.
And then with retrocausality, a lot of the stuff we do can't be proven by science, right? We go out on a ghost hunt, we record things. We can prove that there's something on the recording, but we don't know what it is.
Yes.
Retrocausality has actually been proven. And the best proof of that was an experiment that took place at a hospital. A group of researchers went in and took the files of people that had a blood disease 10 plus years ago. That everything is over with now. These people either lived, died, whatever, but the blood disease is gone. They took the files of these people from 10 plus years behind, separated them randomly into two piles. One pile they prayed over, sent positive intent, did love affirmations, healing affirmations to these files. And the other pile they did nothing with. They found that the people in the pile that got the healing energy and the love energy and the prayers were in the hospital less time, recovered faster, were more acceptable to the drugs that were given, and just had a better overall healing process. And when I heard that the first time, I'm hearing it on a radio station as I'm driving, I had to pull over because it was so powerful that you could do things that change the past in the present. And I wish I had a better grasp on what time looks like outside of our linear understanding of it, because I think it's almost like if you take a pot of spaghetti and just wad the noodles up, and so many points are touching at the same time, and some of those are past, present, future. When I'm writing about the things that take place, the healings that I do in the quantum room, that's how my writing is. There could be a sentence where I'm talking about the present, past, and future using the what an English person would say is the wrong tense for most of the sentence, but in my mind, that's how the words have to be, because that's how it was taking place in there. I make my editor crazy when I send the breakdown of the different sessions, because all three tenses are in the entire story and many times in the same sentence, and she has to try to decipher what I'm meaning. But the words in those different tenses mean exactly what happened, but I have to change them over to proper English so people can understand it.
What's your thoughts on soul contracts? Do you think that before we're born into the physical realm, we kind of write down what we want to experience and when we want to exit?
Yeah, I think there's some testing that we have to do, and many times when I'm really frustrated with the situation or don't like where my life's going, I think about that very thing and think about, what, I probably decided to do this before I came here. I probably decided that I needed this kind of training and that I needed this development and to have this experience. So it changes your perspective when you start thinking about those contracts and that you made the decision for this, even though it's very painful and very awful at the time.
Yeah.
So you believe that
I do.
we've made that?
Yep. I do.
And do you believe we've chosen our own exit when we want to exit the physical realm?
Yeah, I think we probably have. I think a lot of what we're doing is our own design. And so, yeah, we probably did. It's hard to say until it happens, but it would not surprise me if we did make that decision on how we were heading out and when. And I might have decided not to, because I truly don't, I just can't picture it. So I might have decided I'm just going to stay here a long time and bug people for a long time and not leave.
I asked that question for a couple of reasons, and one of them is I do believe that we've written out before we're born what we're going to experience as a life lesson, but can it be changed? Can the life lesson that we've written out before be changed in the physical realm? So,
Yeah.
for example, is there a possibility, because you said that past, present, and future are on the same time, and I've heard that over and over again, and it's interesting. So then, is it just possible that we can change our destiny um, to something else? The way, instead of going down one path, we want to go down another path. We change it completely.
Yeah, I think that's possible, and I think that might be why reincarnation happens. And I believe that we're doing a bunch of different lives at the same time, and so maybe that's what's going on. Is and maybe they're all me in different, different. I'm the same person, but because of the different choices that I made in those other realities, I'm getting different effects. And so maybe that's what we're doing is changing it to see the differences through the multiple places that we're inhabiting at once. I hope you understood that because it hurt my head to say it.
Yeah, I do. It's fascinating to me. It's a mind blower, and that leads me to a question: your thoughts on aliens and UFOs?
I absolutely believe that there are aliens and UFOs. I've got numerous friends that have been abducted, and I have a radio show that I do, and for years I was being a smart aleck on that, saying that I can't wait until the aliens try to abduct me. I'm going to commandeer their ship and go wherever I want. And made a joke about that. And many of my guests said, "Todd, don't do that. Don't make fun of this. You're doing the wrong thing." Dr. David Jacobs, who has done a lot of hypnosis with people that have been abducted. He got scared for my safety when I was saying that and told me to stop
Really?
doing those kind of things. Yeah, and other people have too. People that have been abducted say don't mess with this. And then one night I'm staying in a motel, and I love those little L-shaped motels on the side of the road. They don't make them anymore, but they're all from the 40s and 50s, and I'm staying in one of those, and behind this motel is a empty field that has a bunch of garbage in it. There was a broken down school bus. There was some abandoned vehicles, washing machines, all kinds of stuff that's just been thrown back there. I remember looking out the back window of it. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up and that whole back wall was gone. It was just open, and things started walking through that opening. And there was different size gray aliens. There was one of the
Wow.
ones that we call a mantis, a very tall insect-like thing. There was a Scandinavian looking one of the tall blonde people. A little blob was moving around. There was about 8 of them that came in, and they made me stand up, and they kind of surrounded me, and they made it very clear that I was not funny, and that that I would not be able to take over their ship, and that I needed to stop saying that because it was they didn't like being made fun of that way. And they went on to just make it clear that if I kept that up, it was going to be problematic for me. And they said, and you need to learn a lesson. And I was sick for the next 3 days, just physically ill, the worst flu I ever had. I kept thinking maybe I even had like radiation poisoning or something, but they made it clear that it was not a funny thing to do. So yes, based on friends who have been abducted, based on people that I have interviewed, and then my own experience, I do believe that there are aliens and that there are ships, and but I also believe that most of the things we see are our own. But there are many things out there that we haven't found yet.
What do you think about what are they called? The pixels? What are they? The little. They look like little aliens. We've thought that we've seen a few of them actually in our house.
Okay,
What are they called? Pixels. What are they called? Pixels, right?
I don't know
The little things we were talking about today.
I don't know what a gnome.
Yes, something like
A
that.
gnome?
little tiny like a
That's like
gremlin, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah, but that's
yeah.
yeah.
I haven't seen those, but I've talked to many people in the Shoshone Nation who have, and also a gentleman from Ireland who sees them, and they're the ones in Ireland are very dangerous. He doesn't mess with them. He's terrified of them. And this is a guy that has gone into the most haunted places in the world, and he's very nervous about those little creatures. And I can't remember what he calls them, but yeah, very dangerous. The Shoshones they don't like them much either. They've been trouble.
That's what I've been reading today. That they're actually, I mean, there's been stories that they actually kidnap children. I mean, I don't know how true that is or if it's true, but it's definitely crazy to think about.
It is. There's so many things out there.
That's just they would kidnap kids just for fun, just for no reason, just to talk. Like, I don't know. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah, I don't know about the kidnapping part, but they certainly could. The guy from Ireland, his name's Barry Fitzgerald. He says they're not things to mess with. They are things to watch for, and people disappear from them. So not just children, but adults as well.
Oh, okay.
Disappear from them.
Yes.
Yeah, they take them away. So
how is that possible?
I don't know.
I don't know if 20 of them grab them and run off with them, or if they take them through some kind of portal or what. But there's a lot of lore about the little people over there and how dangerous they are.
Okay.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah. They're mean.
Well, I didn't know they take people away. Well, that's such a good place.
You're afraid? Listen.
You never know.
It could be like, don't make fun of nothing.
No,
because it might take you tonight.
Wait, yeah, I'm telling you, after what happened with me and making fun of the ships, I'm a lot more careful about what I say.
Make fun.
No, I want to say something. You rang a couple of bells. I'm glad I'm talking to you tonight on the show. So I've had my encounters with aliens, and I wasn't abducted and pulled into a spaceship, but I went through something at 14 years old that I want to say that rings true to what you said. In Staten Island, New York, I was stopped in the middle of the street. There was like 100 kids outside playing football, baseball, nice, beautiful summer day. And I was frozen through the mind, not cold, but like some part of the mind was controlled. And this otherworldly voice came through, and it says, Philip, are you having a good time in your life? And through a telepathy, I'm saying yes. And then this being says, okay, because this is where you will wind up when your life journey is complete. And then I was released. And I remember kids young move his cars trying to get by on the street, because this happened on the main street.
Wow.
Now, when you said that the past, present, and future, I think what this being was trying to tell me was that for my journey, as crazy as this may sound to the listener, when I cross over, I go back to that same exact spot at that same exact time, but through a different dimension. So it's kind of like everything exists, but in a parallel universe, a parallel world, for example. That's what this being was trying to say to me, because I have to redo it. When you talked about this, and it sounds like it's out there, because it is out there. It's in left field, but look, I'm 54 years old. I remember that as clear as day. Those words were chilling, but he was trying to tell me something.
Absolutely.
It's as if you draw a circle, and when your life's complete, the circle, you're back at that point, that specific point. I'm back at again on a different plane, redoing it.
Yeah, that's your interpretation is the important part. And when you tell that story, I would avoid listening to too many other people's interpretation of it. I would stick with what you interpret it. And that's one of the things that people run into is other people try to interpret it and give you false information, even trying to help, but they give false information. So I try not to interpret too much. I just listen to see if something rings true when people are interpreting their own thing, and what you just said rings true. And so I think that is definitely your truth.
Yeah. I don't, it is what it is. Those words were firm. They were strong. They were otherworldly. And I guess I get it. I understand it. Where you said past, present, future, and then you said reincarnation.
Yeah.
And it's as if my soul's journey made mistakes, which it has, and needs to start at that point again, because I have to redo it, but on a different plane.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you're going to say, well, the same family, the same people, but yet they've crossed on, but they haven't in that plane. It's out there. And that goes back to when I asked you, do you think that we exist in two places at one time? I would say yes. And you said yes as well.
Yeah, and
Fascinating.
probably more than two. Yeah, I bet it's more than two.
Isn't that fast? It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, and it's sometimes these things are so big that they're too much for us to comprehend and understand, but that doesn't mean that they're not happening. So yeah, there's a lot going on that we're still trying to figure out, and I love learning about it and seeing where it takes us. But yeah, I think you're
So
dead
do
on
I.
that. There's more than one plane happening right now.
My hope of that would be that science and paranormal somehow one day unite,
Mhm.
um, and get rid of the skeptic of
Yeah.
that's not true, this is not true, because quite frankly, I have EVPs, and they're clear. It's not something you have to make out the words. I have clarity of
Mhm.
EVPs, okay? And unless you can give me a scientific explanation of something communicating, you can't debunk that. I'm sorry, but you can't. You can tell me everything under the roof, but you can't debunk the other side when they're giving you complete sentences. You just can't do it.
Sure.
And you can't tell me it's somebody on a walkie-talkie or a radio station that's answering my question at that exact time. I doubt it. What I tend to believe is what you're saying. In the paranormal, there's that crossover of the two worlds, the veil, right?
Yes.
Somehow they're interconnecting on our side as what we're internet connecting with their side.
Yeah. Sometimes, we used to joke about not necessarily that these things were ghosts, but maybe they were just people on another plane of existence, another
Ah,
dimension. And the
ah,
veil was thin there so that we could
yes.
communicate. And they're on the other side doing a paranormal investigation. We're both thinking we're talking to ghosts. And each side thinks they've got a ghost on the other. And in reality, we're both trying to do the same thing.
Like the others, kind of like the others, the movie.
Sure. Yeah.
One time, my wife was years ago. She's on the phone in the basement, and I have surveillance
Oh, I
around my
remember
house
that.
and a camera, and I hear people talking in my basement. And when I says, "Who are you talking to?" She goes, "Well, I wasn't on speakerphone. What do you mean?" I have this. I put it on YouTube. It's a conversation that doesn't exist from this side.
Yeah.
It's the other side, just what you said. It's as if somehow there's hot spots in the world where there's that, whether you want to call them time travelers or
Yeah.
um, the dimensions are crossing over in certain points on the earth, that
It's crazy.
it is possible. And I don't like simpletons, because simpletons try to rule out everything and debunk it.
I
No,
love
I
that
like
word.
facts. I don't buy into every single thing. I like facts, and quite frankly, there's enough fact out there that these things do exist. Aliens, angels, demons, other beings.
Yep.
Sure.
There's facts. I mean, there's a lot of people coming forward, and
Now, you brought up time travel. Do you believe that time travel has anything to do with maybe remote viewing? Do you think like that has anything to do with each other?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to tie the two together, and they could. Okay, so with remote viewing, you're in a different plane of existence where time works different when you're going to do those things. So yes, you could do time travel while you're remote viewing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I could see how that would happen. And when you're doing remote viewing, you're looking for an event that sometimes has happened. You're looking for an object that was left somewhere. You're looking for a certain thing, and there's a bit of time travel in that as well, as when you're finding that energy where it happened, where something fell off, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I guess, and I'd never thought of that, but I guess they could be very, very tied together.
Yes, I agree. Right?
I believe in time travelers. There's a lot of people that say that. Look at YouTube. Just go to YouTube, and you'll see some clips that there's surveillance people out west, for example, and you see other things that are crossing by that they don't belong in this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the problem is today's world too is that there's so much there is a lot of fakeness with
Mhm.
photography and videos because it can, we can do so
Confuses.
much with that now.
Yeah.
That it kind of rules out all the good stuff and the quality stuff that the true people are capturing.
It confuses people.
That throws a wrench into it, and like, oh, everything's fake because
Yeah.
they could do video editing. And no, to the listener out there, there is true, authentic footage. And there was some clips from people from the 1800s. They have a cell phone. Now they can't make out the kind of phone
Oh,
they
yeah.
have. And they're walking by and they don't even look like they belong in that time of where they're being caught. And it's interesting.
Very.
So I'm a firm believer in time travel.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to past, present, future. It all goes back to that three, right?
Yep, all tied together. And many of the things that I do take place in time. And so, yeah, there's definitely an element of time travel with the work I do as a Slipstream Shaman when I'm healing people, because when you heal somebody, you're making a change that radiates out. And so this change will go forward in time and it'll also go back in time. Making you stronger in the back and stronger in the front too. So that's another powerful thing about the processes we do is when you do make the change, when you do the healing, it travels back in time to make you stronger, and then it goes forward as well to keep it from happening again.
I like that. So here's another question I have. A lot of the celebrities out there, they say that if you believe it, you can manifest it and make it happen. And a lot of wealth and acknowledgement and things that we have is because we were able to manifest it through belief. What's your thoughts on that?
So, for years, for centuries, we've been looking at that, and you can go back to Think and Grow Rich, that book from the early 1900s that talked about the power of goal setting, and you're really just manifesting when you're setting a goal. And it's not just a matter of if I think about it enough, it's going to happen, but you have to allow the energy to you're not just thinking about something, but you're allowing the energy to help you start working towards that. It's not a magic pill that if you just wish I had $150,000, I want to manifest $150,000. You have to go out and let the energy lead you to it. And it takes work, and it's not, manifestation is not just sitting on your couch watching TV and hoping for a lottery win. It's meditating, really focusing your energy on what you want, allowing yourself and the universe and your guides to lead you to a way to do that. And so I think people miss out on it.
The line of work that you do, is that something you can help people with?
And that's something we look at. So right now, the first book, Slipstream Shaman, is more about removing obstacles to keep you removing obstacles that are hurting your health. And you can also use that same process to remove obstacles that may be stopping you from getting where you want to be financially, or getting to that job that you want. Or it might even be, once you clear those obstacles, you might even find out that it wasn't the job you wanted after all. You thought it was, but it wasn't, and you get more clarity. So what happens with the work I do is I help people find their purpose. I help people remove what we call companions that are causing them problems, so that they have their very best resources available for them, and just help them to be healthy, help them to be strong, help them to think right. One of the things I do want to work on is helping people move forward with their businesses and wealth and those kind of things. There's people that I know that have these great ideas. They start companies, and it takes so much work to get it going. I think there might be something that actually hinders them, even though they keep working, and it doesn't seem to go anywhere. I want to do this process with them as well, to see where that takes them. If we can remove those companions, those obstacles, or maybe even a parasite that's keeping them from achieving the success they want. And that's what this book's all about, is removing those things.
Okay.
I like that. What's the name of that book?
It's Slipstream Shaman. I'll show you.
Slipstream Shaman.
Slipstream Shaman, yeah.
You have it in front of you? You have the book in front of you?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, can you hold it up to the camera?
Oh, that's pretty cover.
Just a little bit closer on the words so people can see that.
Yeah.
Good. There it is. Good. Slipstream. Wow. And where can people get that?
They can get it on Amazon, or if they go to my website, slipstreamshaman.com, they can order it through Amazon at that point. And it's all about teaching people quantum healing for themselves, for their communities, for the planet, and hopefully even beyond. We're working on putting some groups together that really that will magnify energy and get some big results for people and communities and places.
That's awesome. And I like the cover too.
And you also have books coming out that you said before, right?
Yeah, the next one will be about trauma relief. And that one was inspired by my sister talked to me about, she works with a lot of firemen and police officers, and they all have this cloud over them. They see so many horrible things every day, and it sticks to them. And that the second book is about helping people get rid of those things. And it's not just first responders, it's doctors, it's nurses, it's people that work in retail, it's people that, that pump your gas. It's everybody runs into stuff that just kind of sticks to them and creates a cloud around them, kind of like that mess, with Pigpen on Charlie Brown. And it's about releasing that and having a better, cleaner, happier life, and not dwelling on those things that have hurt us in the past.
One of the things I realize, and after speaking again to so many guests for so many years, is I believe, and I'm a believer in this as well, that the soul may not want to be in the place that it's in, which means if you're born in a certain area and the spirit of you is feeling blocked in, and it says, and you feel like you want to live like down south or out west, follow that energy where the soul wants to go, because I believe strongly, and from listening to so many people, that then they prosper and they grow and they get out of that that negative spot that they've been trapped in. And it's not easy to do, of course, just to get up and go, but it's becoming a thing all over social media, and people getting happier in one sense, because they're like, I moved far away, I live here, and I've never been so happy. And I believe that the soul's energy wants to be a certain place, and it may not be where you were born and raised or where you currently live, and that's why you're not growing.
Sure. And I see that all the time, and it's happened with me. I had when I was younger, I had this very, very, very strong draw to a desert area and needed to be in that energy. Currently, I've been drawn very hard to the ocean, and I needed to be by the ocean. And so, yeah, I think you're right. And it could change throughout your life, like it has with me. And it might stay the same. Maybe your soul or spirit, whatever it is, needs the energy right where they grew up. And I see that too. But yeah, for me, I'm a little bit of a wanderer, and different energies call to me to prep me for what's next. So I think there's something very, very strong with that. I think you're dead on.
Yeah, because you think about it, we're all energy, and souls might be attracted to water, or just flat land, or where the sun is always shining. The soul. I really believe that, because there's just so many stories of happiness out there now, especially. It's a thing, like I said, people coming forward and saying, I'm so glad I changed my life and I'm in a different location. And some people may be happy in the location that they're in, and the soul is fine with that. But other people, they grow and they move out of their comfort zone, their comfort box.
Yeah.
And again, you talk about either famous people or celebrities, and you look at their stories.
Yeah.
I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of them. He said it as well. He's like, I had to get out of where I lived to grow.
Sure.
And he did, and he grew. And his story and his biography is incredible.
Yes.
Incredible resume. So it rings true to get out of the comfort zone and listen to this inner self,
Yeah.
right? Because
Right.
the inner self is who you truly are, not the physical and the mind. The mind can be deceiving and play tricks, and you may never grow.
Sure.
So you have to really listen to the spirit part of you. And I'm glad you have those books out, and you're coming out with another one.
Yeah, yeah, we're working. It's all about helping people. This first one is a guide to get you started, to learn how to find your energy, to find a place to do your energy work. I call it a quantum room. For me, it looks like a misty area. For other people, a friend of mine, she walks down some stairs in hers to a nice pond. Sometimes she floats in the pond. Sometimes she just looks at it. Another person, it's his favorite car, the interior of his favorite car. Other people float in space. I think if mine wasn't just that misty area, it'd probably be on the moon. I have a very strong pull to the moon. So everybody's is different and fun. And I'll teach you how to access your energy, find out what color and what temperature your energy is, show you how to protect yourself. If you're worried about sleeping at night, or if you some of us live in a haunted place and love it. Some of us live in a haunted place and don't love it. How do you protect yourself? We'll talk about that, setting up an energy shield for yourself. All those things are in this book, plus the experiences that I've had where I tell you what happened when I help people with different things. There's some very, very interesting stories there. And that was what I was talking about earlier, that when I wrote them, the past, present, and future tense in each sentence was all wrong. And we had to go back in and edit that so that people could read it and understand. But to me, because of the way time works, that was the correct way to write it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff in there, and not only will you learn how to help yourself, you'll be able to help others after reading it. And it's designed to be read in about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Many times I've gone into homes and people have these gigantic bookshelves full of books. I say, "How many of you read?" None. And they all started with good intentions, and those books all have a ton of information in them.
Yeah.
But by the time you read the whole thing, there's so much that you can't take action. And I didn't want that. I wanted you to be able to read it, be done in 2 hours, and start working on it. And honestly, you could start in about 45 minutes, because the last half of the book is the stories about the things that I did, the experiences. So you could skip that part, just start doing the processes within less than an hour of having the book in your hand, and start working your way towards being healthier and helping other people with their health and their happiness, and just move forward in your life. But yeah, I wanted it easy, fast, and to just get to the meat immediately. Yeah.
That's great. And the best part, you feel good because you're actually helping people.
Absolutely. And that's my purpose. And this book will help you meditate so you can find your purpose. If you're not sure what your purpose is, it'll help you with that meditation so you can find it. And like I said earlier, my purpose is to help. 2 words, to help. And this is how I do it. I don't charge people to, if I do a healing session for them, I don't charge them for that. If I do a healing session for a pet, I don't charge for that. I feel like this is a gift that the universe gave me, and I'm afraid to charge for it, that I might lose it. But I want to do this full time. I want to help people full time. And that's where the books come in, with people purchasing the books, or maybe doing some training seminars, teaching people how to do it. We'll not only get each individual to a better place, but we can help communities and the planet and even beyond, like the book cover says.
I like that.
Amazing. Very well. And you have a talk show too, a radio show, correct?
Yes, it's called My Side of the Universe. I've been doing it for about 5 years. I've had all kinds of people on. Probably my favorite, and I'm guessing Phil's going to know who I'm talking about, but on Star Trek, the original one, there was a slow-moving lizard man that fought Captain Kirk. He was called the Gorn.
Oh, yeah.
I got to have the stunt man who played the Gorn on, and that was awesome. I had an absolute blast with him. His name's Bobby Clark, and that's probably one of my favorite interviews. And then I've just talked to some of the smartest people ever. Diane Collins, who has written a book called Quantum Think. Do you quantum think? And just so many great people. And you've done the same thing. You've had so many interesting people on your show, and it's truly wonderful. And you're actually getting sponsors. Mine just just has the station sponsor. Good for you.
But it's really good to have so many of these people on, because you get to learn so much too. I mean, it's
Yes.
knowledge is
Oh, yeah.
power.
And I want to tell the listener out there that, back in the day, it was just a person who had paranormal experiences. Like, let's go back to the 70s, 60s. Oh, you're crazy. There's no such
Yeah.
thing. It's your mind. It's a hallucination.
Yeah.
And now, here we are, decades later, showing the world that
It's true.
this is real. These things do exist. Now it's on television. It's in movies.
Yeah.
There's paranormal teams around the world. And we're evolving to an understanding that, number one, we're not alone. We've never been alone in the universe. That's number one.
Yeah.
We're on a rock in the middle of nowhere. So to think we're alone, again, think twice.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if we're not alone, and let's just put out aliens, push that aside for a second, well, then there's other things too, elementals and ghosts and angels. There's other things too. So the possibilities, when people experience different things, before you debunk and criticize, make sure you have the knowing and the understanding of what that actual person or family is dealing with, because the truth is, there's so much out there. We're a grain of sand in the middle of nowhere, and that grain of sand is a little rock, right?
Yep.
And now look, NASA, they just said we go on, we just keep going on. It doesn't end, right? Now they're saying it.
Yeah.
Let's go back 50 years ago. They weren't saying that. They thought there was an end to the way the galaxies were. No, there is no end. So if there is no end, there was no beginning. If there is no beginning, there's no end. And that means the possibilities of what these shows, what we talk about in our guests, we talk to celebrities, lawyers, doctors, the corporate America people. We talk to so many different walks of life who have paranormal, supernatural experiences. So we're all in this together, and it's a learning curve for each and every one of us. We can use these as tools to benefit us and help other people along the way. And our guest tonight as well. Grab his book, because I hit him with some interesting questions, and he came back with quality answers. And there's more answers in those books.
Definitely.
So you definitely want to get that. And what's the name of that book again?
Slipstream Shaman. If you search Slipstream Shaman or go to slipstreamshaman.com, you'll be able to find it. I'd also like to encourage anybody that's on Instagram to reach out to me at Slipstream Shaman. That's where updates will come out, and I'll let people know about what we're working on in the book, different things we're doing. One of the things that I'm going to teach you about in the book is called polymodella, which is many healings. And that's a process you can do to send energy out to the world to help a bunch of different people that are having the same thing. You might send a polymodella out to the world to help with anxiety or with sleep or with anger. We did one for when we had to wear the masks and everybody was getting so upset. We did a polymodella for that and helped relieve some of that tension. So yeah, there's a lot of great things in, and that's where the updates will come is through Instagram at Slipstream Shaman. Okay. And I'll accept anybody that comes over. I just started doing that. I'm fairly new to it, but yeah, anybody that comes over, they're getting accepted.
Perfect.
Awesome. You. Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on Horsefly Chronicles Radio. Yeah. This has been a very knowledgeable show. An interesting show. I've learned some stuff on this show tonight. What about yourself?
A lot.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable guest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, we really appreciate it. And to the listener, get that book. It's a short read. He said he could read it in 2 hours. Why not? Yeah. Knowledge is power.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for coming on once again. Yeah. And Julie, wrap it up.
Thank you. Well, special thank you to Carnation for sponsoring the show. From day one, we love them. Thank you so much. And please join us next Monday, same time, on 105.3 FM from New Orleans. And stay tuned for Trish Mo with the Missing Piece.
Everyone have a safe, great night. Look up into the night skies and take some pictures. You never know what you're going to capture. Until next week.
Thank you, Todd.
We're beaming out, Scotty.
Have a good night.
You too.